you?
I'm doing well. I was inside the house and I was like, I want to get outside. I want to be in nature. There was something that was just telling me like, go outside. So you might hear the crickets. They're really loud today. I thought they only come out at night, but I wanted to be outside. So I was like, let me go outside in nature and do this live with you.
And where,
But
and where are you?
I'm in Jersey. I'm in West Orange, New Jersey, at this park called Eagle Rock Park. It's
I know Eagle Rock.
you know Eagle Rock?
Uh-huh.
Nice. So you've been to Jersey then?
Yes, I've been all over the tri-state. I know New York City, I know Jersey, and I know Connecticut, and parts of Delaware, and parts of Pennsylvania, like the back of my hand. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, yes, yes. Jersey is definitely all of that. Like it gets a bad rep for being dirty, but it's a really beautiful place. It's
Yeah.
called the Garden State because there's so much flowers, there's so much beauty about it, and I'm so happy to get to see you, get to talk to you
Thank
because
you.
we've been doing this for a while where we've been trying to figure out how we can do this podcast together. And then we came up with the Instagram Live, which is, I feel is a great idea,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. And
so you're an actress and you're also a comedian, I see.
yes, I'm an actress, I'm a comedian, and I am also oh my gosh, you should have just said it. I'm a ventriloquist. She's
Ventriloquist.
crazy. May Wilson, my roommate. So, May, we were just talking about Jersey. Well, Jersey is like Craigslist. You get a lot of everything, but sometimes you stumble into a gold mine. But we met on Craigslist, May. Yeah, because that's where all the good things happen. Like Jersey.
Yes, yes. So I saw, like, going through researching you and your story, and then I saw something that said your fiance left you because you didn't want to give up your dolls. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. I got engaged to a guy on the third date. Don't ever do that. Big red flag. To be fair, my parents have been married for over 40 years, but they were
Yes.
talking about getting married on the third date.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents are crazy. Oh, okay, mate, we're not going to talk about my parents. So, anyway, we're hanging out, and he says, my friends don't like your puppets. And I was like, I wanted to be a professional ventriloquist more than anything in the
Mm-hmm.
world. So it broke my heart. But, I was like, I want to be a professional ventriloquist, but maybe being like a wife is a more attainable goal, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's right. So I put the puppets away. And the relationship got worse because, he was an abusive narcissist, like you would have thought, right? And so anyway, one day I was really depressed,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked under my bed, and their little faces were gathering dust. And I pulled May out. And what did you say, May? I said, April, I'm so glad to see you back. Have you dumped that loser yet? Yeah, because I was also supporting him at the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I was so unhappy. And so anyway, I decided to choose my puppets. And so I walked into the kitchen to break up with him, and May was on my arm. What did you say? I said, goodbye, loser, with the small dick.
So not only was he a loser, he had a small dick.
Like, I had to get the magnifying glass. I'm like, what is that? You can't.
So how did you fall in love with him? Like, what made you said on the third date, you guys, he proposed to you.
Yes. I was very shy. I didn't have a lot of boyfriends. All my friends had boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends were getting
Mm-hmm.
married. And I felt left out. And here was this guy telling me he loved me right away. Who would have thought that, like, these were all red flags?
Mm-hmm. No, I do see that as a red flag. Even though I do believe at love at first sight, I do wait a bit before I reveal that love.
You know what I told April? I said, listen, you got to wait a while before you reveal that love. Like, for instance, you got to see his 401k. You got to see that credit score. There's no romance without finance. Hello.
That is true. You got to listen to, what's her name again? Sorry.
Wilson.
May,
Yeah, that's right. That's my name, May Wilson.
so,
So
so mm-hmm.
yeah. So I dumped him and I started on a career as a professional ventriloquist.
Yes.
And we did comedy clubs. We've done parks. Like we've actually performed in the park.
Nice.
We performed at a bowling alley. We performed at a flea market, and that was one of our more regular gigs. Was busking for a flea market.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, this guy and we tanked a lot. No, April tanked a lot. I was always fabulous. Okay, mate. All right. Keep telling yourself that. But anyway, this guy comes up to us with a camera and he says, "Hey, can I take your picture?" I said, "Of course you can, good looking." He wanted to take my picture too. No, April, he was just being nice. Well, anyway, he says, "Can I take your picture?"
Yes.
And I said, "Sure." And so he wanted to know if, so we're talking and he's very good looking. And I said, I don't, my fiance didn't always understand the puppets. And so the relationship's over. And he says, "Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't always understand my camera." And so I was like, girlfriend, I was bummed. But I wanted to make a move anyway. Because when does that ever stop a man? So anyway, we're talking. And so I was like, okay, I was bummed. So a few months later, we get a phone call. And it's TLC. And it's this young woman. She goes, "Hi, I'm with the casting team for My Strange Addiction. Is it true that you left your fiance for your puppets?" And I said, "How'd you hear about me?" And she said, "Well, the casting assistant's boyfriend took your photo."
Mm.
And
Look
I
at
said,
that.
"Of course he took my photo. Because you see, I make this whole thing look good."
So, when did you first started acting and doing comedy with yeah.
Oh, gosh. I started acting when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I was in school and I was real shy. And this was my mom's way of bringing me out of my shell. Because I wrote. I always wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started ventriloquism when I was a teenager, too. Because I wasn't very popular in school. My mother picked out my clothes every day.
Okay.
That's the program we were on.
Mom, the best.
Yes, she tried. I wasn't allowed to talk to boys at school. My parents were super strict. And I wasn't allowed to watch TV on school nights.
Okay.
So, and we didn't have cable. So when I was a teenager, 13, my family finally got cable because my brother was playing football. All right. So my brother, he's playing football and my dad only wanted one channel. And so in order to get one channel, you got to get 40, right? So anyway, long story short, we're watching the football scores Friday night.
Yes.
They're changing channels. And because my dad hates commercials, 40 more channels. And they're doing a special on ventriloquists. And I have my great-grandmother's sideways Irish smile. And April was the only one that could do it. And so that Christmas, I got a Groucho Marx puppet.
Awesome. No, that reminds me of when my mom saw that I had a love for singing. And then that Christmas, like I think I was about the same age, about a teenager, maybe a little bit younger than that, like 11, 12. And she got me a karaoke machine. And that was the beginning for me. I was singing all the time. And I love when like parents see that you have a love and a passion for something and they, emphasize that and they pour into that just because they know that you love it. That's just the best thing ever.
Absolutely. And my mom is my girl. She's my number one. I talk to her every day.
Yes.
And it's like I talk to her for an hour or two. And of course, she's always into something, but she's always had my back. Even when we butted heads, my mom's my girl. She always has my back.
Shout out to mom. So what was like some of your first acting experience in going into the industry?
Well, I actually had a television show. I gotta go meet my sugar daddy, but I'll be back. I had a television show called Storytime with April and Friends.
Okay.
I actually had a few TV shows. I did ventriloquism at the nursing homes,
Mm-hmm.
which was crazy because some of the residents with dementia thought my puppets were real.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, you kind of have to roll with it, but it got me ready for New York City. And then I had a show called April Talk where I interviewed celebrities, like local celebrities. I interviewed State Senator Tim Murphy as a teenager. He was really nice, but I think he just wanted me to be his mistress because that was his big thing. He was pro-life guy, had a mistress. And then I had a show called Storytime with April and Friends where I read bedtime stories to children around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent my tapes to public access stations. I did this all by myself. And
Nice.
they aired it. And I was in 36 states, 6 countries in the World Wide Web.
Go ahead.
And yeah, and I did it with Sweetie Pie. Hello.
That's so cool. So you always wanted to do your own thing, I'm saying. Like you never really, like when I started out acting, I mostly did background acting, like, you know, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I did, what show that I did? I did The Deuce when it was on HBO for a little while.
Yep.
So I did have background acting, but it's so cool to see that your career started out with your own shows. And you said that you were writing most of your, you were doing the writing for the shows. That's correct?
Oh, yeah. I was doing pretty much everything off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal was to get to New York City and to study acting. And I'm still in kindergarten after all these years. So, April, you should write me into first grade. First grade, Sweetie Pie? Yeah, I got in trouble in kindergarten again. What happened? My teacher said, if you could have a pet, what would it be? And I said, I want a pet alligator. Alligator? That's not a good pet. That's what she said. She said, where'd you keep the alligator? I said, the bathtub. The bathtub. And she said, what would you feed the alligator? And I said, my landlord. Wait, your landlord? That's a terrible answer. No, that's a good answer. I got myself free rent.
So what are you, so SAG is currently on strike, and so what were you doing before that happened? Before SAG actually went on strike, like, were you using that, you know, membership at all?
Yes, I was. I had a show called April in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And April in Vegas was filmed at the English Hotel. I had guests on like yourself, you know, like people that were amazing and awesome. And we filmed it poolside with my co-host, Steve Dennis. So I was doing that. And I was also doing TV appearances with these guys. And as a matter of fact, these guys are what got me my SAG card. So, you know, and I'm hoping everything resolves itself. We've been showing up at a lot of the rallies here in Las Vegas. And I just want to say, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up, 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 the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Woo! Sweetie Pie, everybody. Yeah, she was one of my first. I actually rescued her from an evil magician. That's why she's got the issues she does.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been, you know, but I just have been using this time just to get even more savvy, you know, because unfortunately the thing with the strike is everybody is really upset right now, and rightfully so. But I just have been using the time to I'm developing a one-person show here in Las Vegas. You're frozen. There you are. You froze. Or I froze. Somebody froze. I'm developing a one-person show in Las Vegas. And during the pandemic, I also wrote a book called Don't Read My Lips. It's my secrets on how to do ventriloquism. It's available on Amazon, people.
Nice.
And I also have a pinup calendar for the fellas and the girls that like pinup, anybody that likes pinup really, or my envies that like pinup, anybody. It's called April on Vacation. It's on Lulu. And then I got to work with Bob Saget before he died. And I got to towel juggle on Videos After Dark. It was a show on ABC.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn how to towel juggle, I'm selling these kits too, and you can go to my Insta page for more. So I've been using it to promote, because that's what I do best.
I love that. You have your hands in multiple pots. You know, you're a writer, which is very difficult to do. I've tried to write a few things, and it always ends up on the shelves. So to see that you're like an avid writer and you're always coming up with these creative things to keep your artistic, self motivated is really cool. So I did see a video with you and a towel.
Yes.
Tricks with the towel. Is that one of the books that you have?
Yeah, that's the tricks with the towel. It was seen on Videos After Dark, and I got to work with Bob Saget before he passed away. Great guy. And but it was different because the funny thing about being on Videos After Dark was back in the day I watched him as Danny Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was Mr. Nice Guy. And then when I'm older, everybody's like, April, he has a really crazy, dirty ventriloquist act. I'm like, Danny Tanner?
So how did that come about? Because I see also that you're very comfortable with your body. You're very risque, I should say. And you also had parents that were very like conservative, in which where you couldn't talk to boys at when you're a teenager. So, and then that morphed into you owning your body and feeling sexy. So, like, what is feeling sexy to you? Like a lot of people are very, very modest in their dressing and things like that. So what makes you want to, take those sexy pictures now?
Well, it's kind of a crazy thing because I never saw myself as sexy. I always liked old movies because that was one thing is my grandmother and dad always loved old movies, and I love watching black and white movies because it just gives me a sense of like safety, and I love the fact that they relied more on story than the filmmakers do now.
Yes.
And so I always loved old Hollywood. I always loved the glamorous aesthetic. And when I was starting out as a ventriloquist, again, I was not sexy. But a lot of the shows that booked me were burlesque shows. And I came out of the relationship with the ex very destroyed. And it was a relationship that made me feel very ugly because he would, when we were out and about, he would always tell me, oh, why don't you look like so-and-so, or so-and-so has breast implants. Why don't you talk to her surgeon, April?
Wow.
Yeah, like he was not a nice guy. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I was only kidding. And so I was a mess when I left that relationship. And so I was always kind of weird when it came to male attention, if that makes sense. And I was weird when it came to myself. And the other thing I was wrestling with is that I wasn't completely straight, but I wasn't completely, because I tried dating women for a minute, and women are crazy too. Nobody told me that. Like, I thought we were supposed to be better. So, anyway, yeah, everybody's crazy. Men are crazy, women are crazy, envies are crazy. So I was like trying to figure all that out, and then I ended up on My Strange Addiction, and I had this male fan base. These guys started writing me letters telling me that I was hot, and I'm like, me? Are we talking about the same person?
Nice. So
then this wasn't like, hey, you're beautiful, I want to marry you. They would tell me all the things they wanted to do to me.
Yeah, of course. Here, here's the other shoe.
Yes. They were like, hey, this is what I want to do to you. And so then I got a lot of offers to do music, some offers to model, and I was like, wow, I look okay, And so then I got more and more offers. And then I got an offer to do a book called April Unwrapped, My Naked Dreams Revealed. It was a book of pinup photos. My mother hates that book, in case you're wondering. But the fans love it. I got offers to do more pinup calendars. I got offers to juggle in Las Vegas. And right now, I am a bunny influencer on Playboy, which is interesting.
Congrats on that. Congrats on that.
Thank you. And the weird thing about that is that back in the day when I was starting out, I was also a Satan telegrammer, and I was hired to do a naughty nurse to this guy who said, with somebody like you, how's his pecker supposed to get hard? So now I'm an influencer, and he's actually, I think he's dead. So I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. So
I know that was wicked, right? Yeah.
you know, anything goes here. But so that's crazy. So I guess all in all, to conclude that your fans made you feel sexy, and you want to pay homage to your fans by taking these pictures. In a sense, you want to like give them what they want. In a sense.
Yes, I want to give my fans what they want, but my fans have had my back. I've had fans get into fistfights over me. I've had fans get into a lot of trouble over me. So, but also my fans have been loyal to me, and there have been people who have said nasty things about me. My fans always clap back.
Nice.
But more than anything, though, the fun of taking these pictures and the fun of doing all this is that, you know, being sexy isn't about how you look. It's about a feeling. Like Mae West, who was one of my all-time heroes, she was, come up and see me sometime. Like, she was, I remember the first time I saw her, and this is when I knew that I was in love. My dad said, how old do you think she is? I said, she's got to be like 25, 26. He goes, no, she's almost 50. I'm like, what? And she's like picking the asses of these 25-year-olds. Like, she's like, and then she's 80 and she's talking to the guys at UCLA. Like, and they still wanted to take her back to the frat house and have a good time with her. I'm like, that is skill.
No, I think, you know, like you said, sexy is a mindset. And the more I get older, because I was always just kind of like, oh no, like, I don't know how I'm going to be when I get older. But now I'm getting older. I'm like, you see some of these older women and you're just kind of like, wait, she's actually pretty sexy. Like, she carries herself with so much confidence that you have to believe she's sexy. You know, like, you have no choice but to believe she's sexy. I named Martha Stewart as a woman that I find very sexy. And people, oh, really? Like, Martha Stewart has this confidence about her and this sureness about her where I feel like even she looks better now than she looked when she was younger, in a sense, you know? Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I feel like she might own her sexiness more than when she was younger, but no, I really believe that sexiness is in the mind. Like, you really have to believe you're sexy before your aura exudes that, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, going back to the example of Mae West as somebody who looked better older, if you saw the flapper pictures of her when she was younger, you were like, okay, you look all right, you're kind of cute, but older is like, whoa. Because I think when you're older, you don't care as much what people think. Like, you know, I remember, without dating myself, when I turned 30, I thought the world was going to end, you know, because 30 is one of those life-altering birthdays. So it was the day of my 30th birthday. I had an underwear model, super gay, but nice guy. He was on a Calvin Klein billboard back in the day. Oh my God, like, to die for, abs to die for. He baked me a cake. And I'm just like, I have a hot guy baking me a cake. It does get better. And so then I'm shopping at the supermarket, and these teenage boys that are working at the behind the counter are hitting on me. I'm like, wait a minute, did they just hit on me? Are they of age? I could totally go to jail right now.
No, that's a great story. So what do you see yourself doing further? Like, I think you said also burlesque shows, or you're judging burlesque shows. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did a television special on a British network called Uncaged TV. And they're wonderful people. It was a television special called April Backstage. It was a pay-per-view event.
Mm-hmm.
and it was streamed 24/7. You had to buy a ticket
Mm-hmm.
for 11 days. And it
Nice.
was the first time I had done something like this. And I felt really proud of myself. And so I made a great contact there. And Neil Lewis, great. And I was judging the show, and there was a lot of great talent around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because these girls are like, what advice do you have for me? And a lot of the advice I have is, you're doing a great thing. Just own it,
Yeah.
because it's so tough, because it's like women are taught not to own it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you're not sexy enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. And
Or you need to be.
yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
the funny thing is that after that contest,
Mm-hmm.
I got a fan letter. Speaking of like getting better when you get older, this guy writes me. He says, "Hey, when I want you to fly to London, and I want to take you to dinner, and we're going to go out to my hotel room, understand?" Question mark. So I'm like, who is this guy? I don't even know your name, but we're
Yes.
going to do all this. His name is Elfie, and he's 15.
No. No.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. These kids are the worst trollers. Like they are the only trollers that run in the internet. They're all over. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so then there was another little letters,
Mm-hmm.
and his girlfriend comes on. He's only 16, you sicko. It's like, well, he is following me on Playboy. It's like it made me realize that I didn't like 16-year-olds when I was 16, and there was a reason for this.
So, you have so much going on, so I don't even feel like, like asking you if you have anything else coming up, because you're doing everything right now. But do you have anything that people should be looking out for? Or, I see that you're on TikTok and you're doing your ventriloquist acts and things like that. But I guess with acting, we're still on strike, so that's hard for actresses